Kaizer Chiefs, the Glamour Boys, arguably South Africa's most decorated football club, currently find themselves in a situation like no other. They finished last season in 10th position, their worst ever PSL League finish, and are currently entering their 10th straight season without winning any competitive trophy. In an effort to address the failures of past seasons, the Kaizer Chiefs management have decided to appoint Tunisian tactician Mohamed Nasreddine Nabi on a 2-year deal with an option of a further year. Nabi comes with a vast deal of experience, having managed 7 clubs across Africa, including most recently AS Far Rabat in Morocco. Joining Nabi at Kaizer Chiefs will be his 4 most trusted wise men, and they come with a clear mandate. They need to awaken a sleeping giant in Kaizer Chiefs and help them reclaim the glory days that they last saw during the 2014-2015 season under Stuart Baxter. Weeks after Kaizer Chiefs' defeat to Yanga in the preseason friendly, I decided to go back and rewatch AS Far Rabat's matches under Coach Nabi. And after watching these matches, I've come to understand the general methodology behind Nabi's football. So in this video, I'll be explaining all the tactics behind Nabi ball. So if football tactics is something that interests you, please like the video, comment, subscribe, and let's do this. What you have in front of you is AS Far Rabat's build-up. In numeric terms, it is a 1, and the reason I say 1 is because the goalkeeper is an active member of build-up. 4 defenders with wide fullbacks, 2-man midfield that help to assist with the deep build-up, 3 across the front line that pin the opposition defense, and finally 1 striker. Essentially, it makes a 1-4-2-3-1 formation. The 1-4-2-3-1 formation is a common feature in different matches for AS Far Rabat. So during this first phase, what they're looking to do is to bait out the opposition by playing short passes across the back line. So you'll see them move the ball patiently from side to side, and in the process they're looking for gaps through the middle because Nabi's teams tend to go through the center. And so how quickly they get the ball up front depends on how quickly they can find the free man. And so if they don't find the free man, they'll continue circulating the ball from side to side. And it's at this point with the goalkeeper where they explore verticality. Basically long balls up front that put immediate pressure on the opposition defense. And they almost always have a supporting player nearby ready to pick up the second ball. The difference between this build-up and the previous build-up is how quickly they're able to find the free man. As the ball is played to the center back, the winger in this case jumps onto the fullback, which then opens up a passing lane to the striker who has dropped into that pocket. The center back is then able to find the striker, and therefore they are able to progress up the pitch. What I've come to learn is that Nabi is a very adaptable coach. In this match, he switched formation to a 1-4-3-3 formation. So normally where you have 2 midfielders, he changed to 3 midfielders. But even with the formation change, the principles still remain the same. Play short passes across the back line, throw out the opposition and try to find the free man. And in this case, it was the goalkeeper who was able to find the free man. Now I want to quickly focus on the opposition. What the opposition are deploying here is a mid-block. A mid-block is a defensive structure where a team is not pressing high, but they're not sitting in a low block, and their focus is congesting the middle of the pitch. Since the opposition is sitting in a mid-block, it's at this point where the goalkeeper progresses with the ball and splits the 2 centre-backs to become quote-unquote the 3rd centre-back. This then gives license for the 2 full-backs to push up high and wide. In a mid-block, the defensive line is still relatively high. The onus then becomes on the goalkeeper to try to find a runner in behind this high line, since there is space to be exploited. When the goalkeeper is not stepping up to become the 3rd centre-back, they use a different method. This time it's the defensive midfielder that drops in between the 2 centre-backs, which then creates a 3 versus 2 against the opposition. The centre-back in possession of the ball does not want to risk playing this pass to the defensive midfielder or to the other centre-back because the striker is ready to intercept. So instead he's going to use the 3rd man principle. The 3rd man principle is an indirect method to get the ball to a marked player. The centre-back plays a pass to the other defensive midfielder who then plays a bounce pass to free the marked defensive midfielder. But what you didn't notice during this process is that the attacking midfielder or the right winger has dropped into that pocket that has been vacated by the other defensive midfielder to come and assist with progression. Whilst on this topic of the defensive midfielder dropping into the backline, I actually noticed in the game against Yanga, it was Yusuf Mart that assumed this role. The reason Mart was dropping was because he has a good passing range, so he was able to speed up the game and facilitate the build-up. And this, by the way, was an instruction from Nabi himself. Teams have different formations that they adopt during the match. So initially it is a 1-4-2-3-1 formation with the goalkeeper included. As they progress further up the pitch and the goalkeeper becomes excluded, it becomes a 4-2-3-1 formation. But it's important to note that this 4-2-3-1 formation also changes. As the left back pushes up high, the formation begins to change. From a 4-2-3-1 formation, it now becomes a 3-2-5 formation. The left back is supplying the width on the left hand side, whilst the left winger tucks inside into the half space. The attacking midfielder and the striker are stretching the opposition line, whilst the right winger is holding the width on the right hand side. The right back has stayed back to form part of the back three. Essentially, it forms a 3-2-5 formation. Now you'll notice this time it's the same 3-2-5, but what has changed is the players that are forming the 3-2-5. This time the left back has stayed back to form part of the back three. The left winger is supplying the width on the left hand side. The right back is supplying the width on the right hand side, whilst the right winger has tucked inside into the half space. So it's just the vice versa of the previous example. If you can recall, during the build-up phase I said in this match they lined up in a 1-4-3-3 formation. Now in settled possession it has become the very staple 3-2-5 formation. This time around it was both fullbacks that are high and wide and supplying the width, whilst the two wingers were narrow and playing as inside forwards. And then the back three was formed by one of the midfielders dropping in. This time it was the left central midfielder that dropped in to form part of the back three. Some of you guys might be wondering, why is it 5 players across the front line? For example, in this game, the opposition was playing with a back 4. So by having 5 players across the front line, you outnumber their back 4. But also what this does is that it stretches their back 4 and it creates gaps in the half spaces that can be exploited. This structure has a lot of players in the center, so it allows for quick, intricate combination play in between the lines. So the players have to be comfortable operating in tight spaces. But of course, you can't always play through the center because the opposition becomes compact and blocks out the center. This is where they use an overload to isolate. So they switch the ball to the wide areas where the fullbacks have a 1 versus 1 against the opposition fullbacks or sometimes even opposition wingers. It's important that I touch upon the off-the-ball movements that have been coached by Nabi himself that you may not notice during a match. The first coach principle is wide rotations. On the left-hand side, you have a 3-man triangle that consists of the left central midfielder, the left back, and the left winger. These 3 players interchange positions while still maintaining the very same triangle, and this has an effect of dragging the opposition players out of position and creating gaps in their defensive structure that can be exploited. What varies from triangle to triangle is the starting positions of the players. Hence why you shouldn't be surprised when you see players in positions in which you are not used to seeing them in, because it's these rotations that create confusion in the opposition's defensive line and disrupts their shape. The most important aspect of these rotations is timing. The timing needs to be synchronized. The timing determines the fluidity of the team and also determines how quickly the space can be exploited that has been created. The second principle that has been coached by Nabi is counter movements. By counter movements, I simply mean when one player moves to one direction, the other player moves to the opposite direction. I've highlighted 2 players here, one in blue and the other one in purple. The one in blue is going to make a forward run, whilst the one in purple is going to make an opposite run. As the player in blue makes a forward run, he drags 2 opposition players, which then frees up space for the player in purple to receive freely. This time, the striker who I've highlighted in white drops deep, which drags the defender and creates space for the player who I've highlighted in black to exploit. In this example, it is the left winger that drops, which drags the 2 opposition players and creates space for the left back to receive unmarked. Are you a football fan that is passionate about the game to a point where you put your money on it? You head over to Google and search for the best betting sites, but then you soon realize you do not have the whole day to be scrolling through the whole internet and comparing what each and every betting site has to offer? This is where Bet Browser comes in. Bet Browser compiles for you the different betting sites and what each betting site has to offer so that you don't have to. And once you have found the betting site that has the offer that you're looking for, you simply claim the offer. The link to their website will be in the description below. Thank you to Bet Browser for sponsoring this video. Out of possession, they adopt a hybrid pressing. Initially, it begins as a zonal marking, but as soon as the goalkeeper plays the ball to the center back, this is where they trigger the man-to-man press. The striker cuts off the pass back to the goalkeeper, whilst the attacking midfielder jumps onto the center back. This is then a trigger for the winger to jump onto the fullback. At this point, every player needs to go man-to-man, because if one player doesn't follow in sync, it is easier for the opposition to play out of the press. As the press occurs, you will notice that they always force the opposition towards one side of the pitch. The reason they do this is that they're trying to cage them in and use the touchline as an extra defender while it's cutting off 360-degree view of the whole pitch. The opposition then has two choices. They either try to play out of this press or they go long, which is what AS Far Rabat want because they have players that are able to win their aerial duels. When they're not high pressing, they normally sit in a 4-4-2 mid block. This mid block ensures that the center is protected while it's also covering the wings. It then becomes difficult for the opposition to try to play through them. Just as a bonus, as I was watching AS Far Rabat's match against Barkan, as soon as they were able to regain the ball in their own half, they showed some level of composure which was simply marvelous to watch.
دخول داخل منطقه الجزاء التمريره فرصه داخل منطقه الجزاء اسامه المليوني، ولكن هناك تدخل ديال اللاعب والمدافع الرواندي ايمانويل شيبوي هو اللي دخل بعد الخطوره. كانت فرصه لفائده فريق النهضه البركاني، وتابعنا الانطلاقه والمرتد الهجومي اللي قاده يوسف ماري، محاوله اخراج كره من مناطق فريق الجيش الملكي. المرابط بعد جوج لاعب بعد 18 علبه، تدخل والعوده ديال احمد حمودان، مشات كره عند امين الزحزوح مشات كره في الجهه اليسرى ايمان الشيبوي من جديد عند العربي الناجي. زوير مرور كيرجع الكره للحارس مهدي بن عبيد. محمد ربيع حريمات لامين الزحزوح. فريقين اللي عندهم امكانيات وعندهم لاعبين بامكانهم يعطونا صراحه الفرجه خلال هذا اقرب لعبد الحق عسال في الجهه اليسرى. كره طويله البحث على اسامه المليوي، تدخل حاتم عصوابي. محمد ربيع حريمات على مستوى الوسط لزهير مرور اللي كيقدم يعني مستوى طيب على مستوى الدفاع ديال فريق الجيش الملكي. اللاعب والمدافع السابق لفريق المغرب التطواني ربيع حريمات، مشات كره في الجهه اليمنى، ترجع من محمد مفيد. مهدي بن عبيد، كرة طويلة في اتجاه حمزة إيقامان بالرأس لأحمد حمودان، فرصة لبداية فريق.
Thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you have any comments you'd like to share, please leave them in the comment section below. Please take care and thank you guys for watching.